Broadcasting from the Business RadioX studio in Alpharetta, it's time for ProfitSense with Bill McDermott.
Good morning. Welcome to ProfitSense. This podcast dives into the stories behind some of Atlanta's successful businesses and business owners and the professionals that advise them. We help local business owners get the word out about the important work they're doing to serve their market, their community, and their profession, as well as discuss current issues that business owners are facing today across a wide variety of industries. I'm your host, Bill McDermott, and this show is presented by the Profitability Coach. When business owners want to increase their profitability, they don't often have the expertise to know where to start or what to do. I leverage my knowledge and relationships from my banking career and working as a profitability coach to identify the hurdles getting in the way and create a plan to deliver profitability that they never thought was possible. We have a great guest on the show today. I'm so excited about this. Mark Beal, who's CEO of Instead of Flowers. Mark, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, so glad that you're here. And just in a very short time, I feel like we have gotten to know each other. Certainly, Instead of Flowers has a great story to tell and provides wonderful services. I've been a beneficiary of that as well as a recipient and a giver. So I do want to just kind of dive in. So to get started, what I wanted to talk about is the story of Instead of Flowers. So share with our audience what is Instead of Flowers, what the story of Instead of Flowers, and what is the story of Instead of Flowers, and how did you come to the role of co-owning and operating it?
Yeah, I love that as a place to start. Really, Instead of Flowers, the story of it, what we're all about is simply people taking care of other people is really what it is at the core. And our product, our service happens to be doing that through gourmet, delicious food, right? Me personally, I think there's two things that always bring people together. That's food and music.
Yep.
We do food.
Yep.
And we do it really well. So Instead of Flowers has been around for 25 years. We're actually getting ready to do a little birthday celebration coming up here over the next month or two, and a lot of other exciting things that coincide with that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's a fantastic company, and how I come to co-own Instead of Flowers is a pretty fun story as well. I've got two silent partners. I say they act as more of our board of directors, whereas I run it day to day. But the three of us were longtime customers of Instead of Flowers, coming from the financial and accounting world. We had gifted it countless, not hundreds of times over the years to clients, to centers of influence, and of course, friends and family and our personal network as well. And we knew the original founder and owner of it pretty well, over those years. And long story short, when he was looking to move on to what's next in life for him, we jumped at the opportunity to carry that legacy on, but also with a vision for growing it, getting more meals in front of more people.
Yeah, and I want to talk about those meals and also talk about kind of what makes Instead of Flowers unique. So talk about what the actual model is. What is Instead of Flowers, and then what makes you unique?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what makes us unique really is what we bring to the table, pun intended. There are a million different options for how you're going to eat dinner. And especially coming out of COVID, the world really changed.
Sure.
From delivery models from your favorite restaurants to meal kit companies where they've eliminated the grocery shopping and it shows up at your doorstep. Where we fit in is really providing that high quality gourmet meal that's made to order, and it's delivered to the doorstep of someone you care about, and it's ready to heat up and plate and simply spend time around the table. Our goal is to make people's day a little bit better, and we do that through the ease and the elegance of it at the same time. And so with our meals, every meal comes as what we call full course. So just as if you're going to a restaurant, you're getting everything that you need with hardly any prep and hardly any cleanup. So from dinner rolls, salads, entrees, sides, and dessert, all of that comes with the package on your doorstep, and you don't have to do any work for it, which we like.
Yeah. Now, as I'm conjuring up, since I am a client of Instead of Flowers, I'm beginning to drool for those who can't see me. So, but for someone who's intrigued, how does it work? How do I order the food? Tell me about that process.
Yeah, sure. So we've got a couple ways that you can utilize Instead of Flowers. The most common use for it is for gifting from one person to another. But people do also order it for themselves. And regardless of what the end user is or the purpose, the best way to do that is with our website. We've got a couple different ways that you can order. So you could select a specific meal, choose that delivery date, and the address to where it's going if you want to go ahead and get something specific. And then also more commonly is our gifting options, which are a traditional gift card and any dollar denomination, or what's called our recipient's choice. And that's a really fun one and a unique one, because what you're doing there is you're giving a gift that then that recipient is in control of. They get to select what food they'd like to eat, when it makes sense for them to deliver it, so that they can enjoy it, because their calendar might be a little crazy, or you might not know exactly what's going to align best. So with our recipient's choice, you're giving that recipient the ability to choose. And that's a fan favorite. People really like that aspect of gifting, because the gift giver ultimately knows my recipient's going to get something out of this. They're going to actually utilize it and appreciate it and enjoy it. And it's not just going to be something that I do that goes to waste.
Sure. And I think I recall from just earlier in our conversation that in your prior life, working for the firm that you worked for, you were a client of Instead of Flowers, and you used it in your work for corporate gifting, maybe for new clients, celebrating birthdays of clients or anniversaries, whether it's a client work anniversary or a personal anniversary. That's really how you first came into contact with Instead of Flowers, wasn't it?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that one. I mean, that was really it. And it's kind of neat that with our business model and just our sales, about half of our business is peer-to-peer, consumer-to-consumer, whether that be a neighbor, a church group, or anything in between, just friends. And then the other half of sales comes from what I call corporate, and that's everything from financial advisors, the world that I came from originally, and real estate agents, all the way to Fortune 500 companies, a lot of brand names here in Atlanta that everybody's familiar with. They're able to incorporate it into their gifting efforts, whether internally for employee gifting, for all those wonderful occasions that you mentioned, and or externally for their end client or centers of influence, and so on and so forth. And so with the employee gifting in particular, that's a real popular one. We just had National Employee Appreciation Day last week, actually. Sure. And again, what better way to communicate with someone than with food? What better way to show appreciation than with food? So that was one recent that really took off and was popular.
Yeah, my waistline shows how much I appreciate food. But it's not only just the corporate gifting. It is really something that, so me being an empty nester, I don't particularly like to cook. There are times that my wife doesn't particularly want to cook, and we just want to have the food. So actually someone who just either doesn't want to cook or doesn't want to go out to a restaurant and get out in the hustle and bustle of traffic and mess with reservations, they can have a gourmet meal at home too, can't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, most commonly it is gifted, but we've actually got a really strong segment of our sales that are coming more and more from people ordering for themselves. As you mentioned, they're finding ways to incorporate it into their weekly or biweekly rotation. And I know, just thinking about how we do things in our household, we try to sit down on Sundays and do a little meal planning for the week. And we go through, here's what's happening Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. I've got 2 little boys, so naturally things get totally thrown off by about the second day. But with that, I think it shows, there's a emphasis for a lot of people on what they're going to eat, and they want to do something. It can be hard to do. And again, we try to make it easy on you. So more people are incorporating this into what they do personally, whether empty nesters, whether young professionals with no kids, whether a family who's in between soccer practice and violin lessons, whatever it may be. This is filling a great role for them, and it's something that's consistent that they can count on. And again, it's easy. That's the main thing about it. And then on that note, we're getting ready to offer a subscription model, really in response to what our customers have asked us for. So we're going to test that out and see how it goes. Starting out here in the Atlanta area, but we're excited about that because it's not something that we just dreamt up and said, oh, we're going to force this on the marketplace.
Right.
There's already a bunch of subscription models out there, but really it was in response to customers saying, I already order from you guys pretty frequently.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we can do here?
Sure.
So we said, yeah, we're going to try that out.
Yeah. Well, what a great idea. And I'll be excited to hear how that goes. We're talking today with Mark Beal, who's the CEO and co-owner of Instead of Flowers. He leads the company in its 25th year, working to grow an established and respected company to serve more households and new markets. For over 25 years, Instead of Flowers has elevated the art of gift giving by delivering kindness from their kitchen. Their gourmet meals are the perfect way to celebrate life's most special moments. And Mark, I want to talk about those special moments. So I know you've alluded to a little bit, whether it's corporate gifting or just for consumers, but maybe peel the onion back one more layer. Who buys Instead of Flowers?
The simple answer is anything and anyone. And I say anything because we talked about corporate. It's a wide net. And commonly in business, it's about, hey, let's get very specific. Let's get in on a niche, maybe even taking it that far. And we do that. We obviously know our customers. We know where they are, who they are, all those sorts of things. But the simple answer, who buys Instead of Flowers, is anyone who is looking for a great gift that is convenient and easy for you as the gift giver and is sure to be appreciated by the recipient. And that's such a broad brush, because we all know someone in our lives, in our network, who is having a new baby, who's going through a surgery recovery, who's experiencing grief and a bereavement, who's moving into a new house and they're unpacking boxes, who is celebrating a job promotion. The list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And so that's why it is such a broad brush of who's buying Instead of Flowers, is because it's for anybody, for any occasion.
Yeah, and I know, actually, I have my own version of my Instead of Flowers story. So my mother passed away this past fall. A client of yours sent me a meal. We picked the chicken Florentine. The chicken Florentine is to die for. It was excellent. And it was very professionally packaged, came with directions. So it was just incredibly easy. As someone who doesn't cook, even I could do it and have it come out just so. I loved it so much. Actually, a client of mine had a daughter who was having surgery. And so I sent Instead of Flowers to them in lieu of a card or something. And because it made such an impact on me, I hoped that it would make an impact on them, and then it did. And then the last thing is, so every year I will get my wife a Valentine's gift of a dozen red roses. And rather than do that this year, I thought, well, gosh, instead of flowers, why don't I get her a meal? And so I ordered the lasagna instead of trying to make Valentine's Day reservations, go out and get out in the hustle and bustle of traffic. We just had a little meal at home, little candlelight, the lasagna meal, which was delicious. I did it so she wouldn't have to prepare it, since she's my Valentine. And
there you go.
And so we had our own little romantic Valentine's Day dinner that was a lot of fun. And like I said, the lasagna was just as good as the chicken Florentine was. So
thank you so much, and it's glad to hear that. And I also appreciate you sharing that story, because it is always fun to hear from our customers of how they experienced Instead of Flowers. We talk a lot with our team and in our walls about the experience and
right.
what goes into that.
Absolutely.
Because we don't have the benefit of having you sit on the other side of the wall while you're eating,
right.
Not a traditional restaurant. So we're constantly talking about the experience. And I love hearing stories about, what did Instead of Flowers look like for you? Where were you? When were you eating it? What was the occasion? Because it's different for everybody.
Yeah. So what I want to do is kind of switch from talking about the story, the history, what makes it unique, my story of Instead of Flowers. Running a business, I don't care what it is, has some really, really significant challenges, Mark. And so talk a little bit about what significant challenges you've faced over the past year.
That's a great question, because there's been a lot over the last year. The big one that comes to mind that everybody knows of is the word inflation.
Yeah.
Right. We got, I'm gonna say hit pretty hard, but we experienced it like a lot of other companies did. And for us, that meant predominantly inflation for labor for our team, as well as for food cost. There was a period of time over about 90 days where the cost of eggs was up 250%, right, as one example. And so inflation was definitely a challenge. You as the profitability coach, when we talk about managing cash flow and things like that, that's something where you're constantly having to adapt to the marketplace, and you don't really have a choice. But beyond that, some of our big hurdles really, I would say, are our marketing ecosystem just as a whole, continuing to build that out and refine it and what that looks like. And I'm happy to go into detail on that a little bit more, as well as for us, shipping and logistics, because again, all of our meals are delivered to someone's doorstep.
Right.
We do have I should mention, we have the option here in Atlanta where people can come into our store and pick up their meal if they prefer. We're down in Midtown, but the vast majority of orders are shipped to someone's doorstep. So making sure that we have the right partners with that and we can do it in an economical way is always a challenge.
Sure.
And both of those go into the broader one of just sales in general, right? Everybody is focused on sales. How are we doing? What are our targets and goals, and how are we going to get there?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, those are definitely challenges and some that I'm seeing as well. We're talking today with Mark Beal, CEO of Instead of Flowers. Their mantra is, let us do the cooking. It's the thought that counts. Instead of Flowers is the perfect way to celebrate life's most memorable moments or simply show you care. And Mark, let's take the conversation to kind of what are you working on now and what are you most excited about?
We've had a couple of big projects that we've been working on kind of quietly and in the background over the last several months. If my team heard me say quietly, they probably wouldn't appreciate that because it's been every day.
Yeah.
We've been doing just a little bit more, moving the ball forward even more. But we're excited to have the big reveal really later this month. And what goes into that is an entirely new website. Again, the vast majority of our business and sales is conducted on our website. Mm-hmm. And so we are moving over to Shopify. So it's going to be an entirely new platform that we have put a lot into, because it's not like we're just selling, some product that is easy. You put it in a box, it can get there in 7 days. It doesn't matter. For our business model, our customers have the ability to choose. You can choose what meal. You could swap out a side. You could swap a dessert. You can choose the delivery date. You can do all these things. So there's a lot of complexity behind that. And we've got a fantastic design team called Eastmont Digital that's been doing a really great job of helping that. So we're in the home stretch of that new website, which I can't describe to you how excited I am about that. I think it's going to be a great user experience for our customers, and it'll also help our team internally with better efficiencies as well. So we hope to check a couple boxes with that. And then in conjunction with that new website, we are doing a brand refresh. So we are still Instead of Flowers, but we're just modernizing that look and feel of it at the same time. So we've already got the wrap up on the windows. We've already got some things, but we haven't really brought it to market fully yet. We're looking to do that in conjunction with the new website. But the brand refresh is really representative of a couple things. It's, again, this celebration of 25 years. It's a celebration of what this company has done, which is a fantastic story, a fantastic customer base. We've got a lot of loyal customers who say, I remember back in fill in the year, right? And they can still recall that. And we love that. We want to embrace that and continue to, while also looking forward to how do we get more meals in front of more people. And so the brand refresh is a part of that. It's symbolic of that as well. So we're keeping elements of the old while springing forward into the new.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the concept of of the storytelling that it sounds like you're creating in that, because while the food is ordered on a website, on a technology platform, the gift is really person to person, and the impact of the gift instead of flowers really is culminated out of the relationship that those two people have, and not only the giving and the receiving of the gifts. And so it is ordered online, but it's very personal in the way that it's delivered.
Yes, and I appreciate you mentioning that. We've got a fantastic customer service team, and that's really important to us. Taking care of the customer. I know every business, everybody says that, and it's true. It's a little cliche, but it's very true for us. So much so that when we were really looking at our business, what makes our company who we are, and coming up with core values, we have 3. And you'll hear these words repeated a lot of times through conversations with us, whether here or inside our walls. And the 3 core values that we have are to care, be kind, and desire greatness. Because those 3 transcend working internally with your colleagues, with the food that you're preparing, with the purpose that it's serving, but it also transcends externally to the customer. Right? Every interaction, we want to exude that we care. We care about you. We care about your recipient. We care about why you're using instead of flowers and choosing us, because it's a choice, and we value that. So caring and kindness goes into everything.
Yeah, and that is a great lead into my final question as we're coming about our closing interview. You've talked about those core values, what is important to instead of flowers, and you've certainly talked about the customer experiences, but beyond that, beyond your core values and beyond creating those memorable experiences, what else is important to instead of flowers?
That what you highlighted is extremely important. For me personally, leading this company, leading our team, finding the right team members to join us, it's important that we put together a team and a company that cares about the community that we're in and the people that we're serving. That's just something that's always been a part of what I've done. I guess you could say it's how I was raised in a sense. But being good stewards in our community is vital to the work that we're doing. Because if that's not a part of it, it's not a part of our story. And it then is not a part of the story that people are telling for their own of why they're using instead of flowers. We have to be genuine in showing that we care and about being in the community, about giving back. And it's not something that we do just so we can slap it up somewhere and get visibility. It's about much more than that. And so we're really proud to support some fantastic organizations here in Atlanta and beyond. We get requests all the time saying, hey, we're having this fundraiser, we're doing this, we're doing that. And we'd love to support as much as we can. But I will give a shout out to a couple that are pretty special here, near and dear to my heart. One is Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And my wife was a nurse there for a while. I think everybody in Atlanta in some way has a story or a connection to Children's Healthcare. They're a fantastic customer of ours, and we love to support them and give back how we can. And the second one would be Cure Childhood Cancer.
Sure.
Great organization whose mission is really special. And again, their community that they're serving is also really special. And it aligns with our product, our service, and how we try to do things. So those are just 2 examples of how we are trying to be good stewards in the community.
Yeah. Children's healthcare is near and dear to my heart. We had a daughter who was in the neonatal ICU for about a month after she was born. And so the people there supported us, cared for us. And so whenever someone brings up children's healthcare, it brings up memories. And it was a difficult time for our family. But nonetheless, the people at Children's Healthcare really helped us get through a very difficult time. So
that's great. And I would like to mention just one other thing, again, just about who we are, what we do. We actually added something last year to our employee manual, and that is, we have paid time off, which is something great in our industry, being in food and bev. But in addition to that paid time off, every one of our team members gets 1 day a year to give back, however they choose. So that's over and above any vacation time or anything like that. And we say, You choose what's important to you, what they've got going on, and take that day to do something meaningful.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So most important thing, for those people who are drooling, since we've been talking about food all this
Back
time.
to the food.
Yeah. What is the URL? What's the website that they go to order?
Yeah. The website is insteadofflowers.com. And also our social handles are at insteadofflowers. We've been doing a really good job of getting some fresh, photography, look and feel like we were talking about back out there. So I'm really excited about that. And here again, later this month, we will have the launch of the entirely new website and everything, which will be great. But until then, it's business as usual at insteadofflowers.com. Or on the phone, right? We are not afraid to help people in that way as well, get orders processed at 404-351-7171.
Sure. And then if there is someone who wants to get in touch with you, whether it be for corporate gifting or for other things, is there a phone or an email that is the best way to reach you personally?
Yeah, Mark at insteadofflowers.com. That's the best way. I'm always responsive on that. And I love meeting people in our community, getting out there, talking to people, seeing what they've got going on, and then certainly hearing their story.
Yeah. Mark, I feel the energy across the mics. I love what you and Instead of Flowers are doing. This has been a wonderful interview. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to come speak with us.
Bill, thanks so much for having us.
I want to take a moment and talk a little bit about time management and delegation. Time management is a key challenge for us as CEOs and business owners. The details of driving revenue higher, managing cash flow to meet obligations, marketing our firms, delivering high-quality products and services, and handling the billing and accounting of our companies are immense and pressure-packed. So what can we do as CEOs? I'd like for you to get a picture in your mind of a large planter-size glass container. You put big rocks in, then smaller rocks, then pebbles, then sand. Is it full? Almost, but not quite. You can still add water. The moral of the story is put your big rocks in first. All of us have a to-do list, but do we prioritize our to-do list by putting the big rocks in first? I call the big rocks our A priorities. These are urgent and important. Next are the B priorities, these items that are important but not necessarily urgent. And last are our C priorities. These are items that are urgent but not important. If we assign priorities to our to-do lists, we'll find ourselves being more efficient and effective over time and enjoying a higher quality of life. However, as our companies grow, the amount of time a CEO needs exceeds the time we have. So we must do only what we can do and delegate the rest. Caterpillar CEO Jim Owens said, "The key to personal effectiveness is prioritizing the most critical issues that only the CEO can solve and delegating any remaining tasks." Wise words. I challenge all of us to adopt this mindset. If you want to keep up with the latest in pro-business news, follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram at The Profitability Coach. If you want to listen to past or future ProfitSense episodes, you can find us on ProfitSenseRadio.com. This is ProfitSense with Bill McDermott signing off. Make it a great day.